If you want to learn from the greatest art teacher in the world, check out Visual Storytelling by Bill Perkins only at New Masters Academy, the world's absolute #1 online art school. Click the link down below for a free 7-day trial. Thank you, New Masters Academy. I am in your mind. I am in your... Hey everybody, welcome back to the Honey and Absinthe After Hours Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Vincent, background designer for the Hollywood animation industry.
And I'm Janet, the ex-Disney artist turned independent creator, and this is a podcast about all things art, business, and whatever we feel like.
Now today we're going to talk about how do you trust anyone on the internet anymore?
But before we get into it, make sure to jingle, touch, flick, press all our bells and buttons, please, and thank you.
Hey everybody, it's the year 2022, and you're back with us. So glad to see you again. Hope you're doing great. You're looking awfully good today.
You look great.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. If you're sitting at work, we hope you are making the most out of your days on Earth. Like I do.
Thank you for wasting your time with us.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so we recently watched a movie by Guillermo del Toro, and most famously in this podcast, I said famously that Guillermo del Toro is mid.
Yes. Our teachers would yell at you.
I'm not saying the production design's not. That's beautiful stuff, but I'm just saying his movies are just overall mid.
Yes.
But Nightmare Alley was this close. I'm telling you. I was telling Janet, right?
Yeah.
It was this close to being my favorite Del Toro movie ever. Ever. Which was like a super surprise because I was begrudgingly, I was like, oh, there's nothing to watch. We've watched everything on this list of things to watch except for Nightmare Alley. Okay, fine. We'll watch it. And then we go and I'm halfway blown away.
Yeah.
If there is such a thing.
Yeah. I was 2/3 blown away.
2/3 blown away.
Yes. Okay. Nightmare Alley is a book and was a really old movie, and Del Toro basically, I wouldn't call it a remake because it's not exactly 1-to-1 like the old movie. And I really want to read the book now because there's so many differences between the two. We watched both the old movie and the Del Toro one, and I'm not sure what Del Toro added as artistic license and what was actually part of the book. But I really like that movie too. The first act 2, amazing. Act 3,
kind of a letdown. You can see it from a mile away.
But I feel like it's because that ending is written in the book.
I think so.
Yeah.
The reason why I like it so much is I criticized before, right? You can go back to that episode. I think it's the postmodernism episode. Yeah. Go back to our postmodernism episode and I say oh, Del Toro, all he cares about is the look and all that stuff. And yes, in Nightmare Alley, the art deco is insane.
Crazy,
and then the fashion is insane. It's just to the nines.
Yeah.
Production design, insane, but the story and the way the actors, act beside each other. Bradley Cooper, Rooney Mara, Cate Blanchett. Oh, Willem Dafoe, very small role, fantastic in this movie. I just feel like this is the first time I felt like I'm watching a Del Toro movie and I'm super swept up in the people drama and not in the world that he's really trying to create. And should we talk about what the movie's about?
Yeah,
we're not going to spoil it. We're just going to talk about what it's about. So don't worry about
it. The premise.
Yes. So the premise is about Bradley Cooper goes to this carnival, meets a bunch of carnies, and each carny has their own shtick.
Yeah.
One guy keeps a man beast called it, what is it? A geek.
A geek. Yeah.
And then there's your psychics and people who play around with electricity, the small people, all of that stuff. And then what Bradley Cooper decides to do is, I guess, what's called mentalism.
Yes.
Which is reading people and doing the whole I can see beyond the grave. Your grandmother, she misses you. Oh,
she's right there next to you.
She's actually right there next to you. She says, I love you. And then they go, oh my God, I thank you, Grandma. It's so good to make contact. I'm going to give you $5,000. Do this again. And then Bradley Cooper becomes basically a swindler.
Yes.
Taking people's money.
Well, it's not really about carnies. It's about the fact that they're they're hustlers.
Yeah, they're hustlers.
That they you see behind the veil, and it's really fun to see how they explain their grift on camera, and how like their psychology works. That these people are in a lot of ways they're like really street smart. Like they know how to read people really well, and you see how much work it takes to pull one over on someone. So like Bradley Cooper will like practice his lines and the character that he's trying to be in front of different people that he's trying to swindle. And it reminds me of you, Vincent. And it reminds me of Hollywood. It reminds me of everyone in animation. And it just is really observant about how these type of people are, where they're very like good at reading people and then telling them exactly what they need to hear in order to get like a quick buck.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
And each carny has their own level of deception that they're trying to pull on people. But then just because they do this, the story and, you know, the way things play out, not every character is bad. Like, or has like bad ill will towards people. Is an evil character even.
Yeah.
They're all varying degrees and shades of bad and grifty and scheming.
Like, some have morals, some have lesser morals, some have none at all.
Some would never hurt anybody. Some would probably murder you in your sleep.
Yes.
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 And this movie does a good job differentiating between the average carny that's just like, we're here to give a good show, whatever.
The performance,
and then the person who's really trying to, like, take advantage of you in a bad way. And we came out on this movie really loving it, but then we were also like, man, this is so like poignant to the times, because at the exact same time this kind of thing was happening in real life as well.
Oh, whatever do you mean?
So if you don't know of the saga of Jack Murphy, we are going to talk about that and how it has, that particular thing that went down really changed our perception of a lot of people recently. That and just in general, like the past year since the last time we did like the Art of the Grift episode, our opinions have changed a little bit about
the people we pay attention to.
Yes.
Invest our time in.
Yes.
Yeah. There are people we put on right when we're brushing our teeth, or right when we're having breakfast, and that's precious time that you're taking from us.
Yeah.
So
it's the stuff you fill your brain with.
Yeah.
It's kind of important. So the saga.
Unfortunately, you're just stuffing your brain.
Yeah.
With us.
Well, at least I hope you laugh and have a good time.
Yeah, I hope you have a good time.
That's all I hope to give to people. So the saga of Jack Murphy. Jack Murphy. We found out about him through the Timcast IRL podcast. He was just some guy on that podcast for a while.
Yeah. It's almost like, when you watch a podcast, you have that parasocial relationship, and you're like, oh, Tim's the worst part of the show. I like Greta Thunberg. I like young Bill Mayer. And I love Lydia. But, that Tim fella, boo. And also that Jack fella, boo. Jack wasn't the ones that I liked. And I always had like a funny feeling about that foo. I was like, he was like really into being a dude. Yeah. He would be like a dude. Like, it's manly to do this. It's not manly to do that. And I'm like, man, who are you to say who was manly or not? What? Well, and I would always think that way. I was like, man, who's this guy? And then I would think, like, I kind of understand what each of them do. One's like, one's co-owner of mines, and the other's like another kind of broadcaster. But then I never understood what this Jack Murphy guy did. Yeah. I didn't really. So I do a lot more research into like Tim's guests than I think you care to do. And so, like, I feel like I'm most people. Yeah. Come on. So I don't really think twice, like, oh, this person's on this guy's show, I guess this is who I'm listening to today. But what are you thinking? You're like, oh, I need to understand this person's background. Why is he on the show?
Yeah, like who is this person, and why do I need to waste my time listening to them?
You know what? Actually, I should really start doing that.
Yeah, because if I look them up and I'm like, oh, they're nothing I'm interested in, I'm just gonna tune out of the podcast. My first impressions of him, I thought it was really interesting when you told me you had a funny feeling about him, you didn't trust him, because I didn't have that feeling at all about him. You
can attest to that, right? I told you, man, that Jack Murphy guy. Before everything went down.
Yeah. You were like, I don't know about him. I don't know if I like this guest. Every time he's on.
Yeah, I would too. Every time he was on, it would be one of the episodes I wouldn't want to watch.
Yeah.
Like, that's just all the more reason to not watch and watch, like, Dave's podcast or something.
Yeah, or Michael's.
Yeah.
So I think it's because I bought his Nice Dad act. There are a lot of people in animation who have this Nice Dad act, and up until Jack Murphy, I bought every one of them. Because I don't know, there's something about, like, the Nice Dad that I just don't suspect.
You don't suspect? Oh,
yeah.
He's a dad.
Yeah.
What could possibly, you know.
Especially when you know someone's a dad.
Yeah.
I go like,
oh, that's someone who has responsibilities and things, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of like when someone tells you they're a doctor. It's the exact same thing. Like, you don't suspect any ill whatever because they wear the white coat or whatever.
Also, if you're at work, probably don't search up Jack Murphy right now.
Well, maybe not in Google Images.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, that's what I mean. It doesn't really matter. Just don't search up, maybe not something, if you're at school, don't do that.
Find a private, do it in the bathroom. Do it privately. Do it at home where no one is watching.
Jen.
Yeah.
The government's always watching.
Well, they don't count, you know.
Oh.
If they're gonna care about that stuff, they would have probably arrested everyone by now. But Jack Murphy. So he not only did he have the Nice Dad act that makes you really makes someone like me very unsuspecting of him. He also had like a really convincing backstory of like he used to be like really into the Democratic Party and like religiously so, and then he was woken up. He realized that everyone in this party are a bunch of shams or whatever, however he words it, and then because of that and him voicing his opinions, he said he got canceled and fired from his job. So first of all, he did a moral thing. He became awoken and then did a moral thing, and then he got canceled for it, and like bad things happened to him. So it's hard when you have that kind of backstory for someone to be like, oh, you're a nice dad and you're a very responsible seeming human, and you have this backstory that like makes people want to trust you. So I bought everything about who he was, hook, line, and sinker. Like, I didn't know too much about him and what he did. Like, I don't know, like you said, I don't know what he did as his job.
It was clear for most of the guests, but him, I didn't understand.
Yeah. I didn't know how he makes his money. I don't know his motivations, but still, I like looked past all of that and was like, I guess. I mean, Tim must have done his research and
hopefully
like vetted you.
And the way he makes his money is he has these courses on being a man. On how to be a man 101. Yeah. And $99 a month, you know?
But he also has like a private group that's like a lot more than that? Like, yeah.
That's smart.
I mean,
in terms of like business models. Yeah.
The fact that he made as much money as he did doing all of this is like,
unreal.
It is smart. It is like, it takes some level of talent.
Like Nightmare Alley talent.
Yeah, like I kept kicking myself after everyone found out about him. That like, why am I so dumb? Am I so gullible to fall for something like this? But then, you know, more stuff was revealed about him that it made me realize like, oh, okay, I feel less bad about being duped by someone like him. But, so that was my first impression of him. how we found out who he actually was he was on this podcast, and he basically bitched at the host for
really hard.
Yeah.
Oh, like, come on.
Like unnecessary, like unrealistic. Like everyone went, "Whoa, that was a extreme reaction for what she said." 'Cause she just read a super chat of someone who was hinting at an unsavory past of his, and I don't know if I should say it. Should I say it?
Yes.
Okay, so apparently he's a literal cuck, and the super chat was hinting like, what about that cuck article that you wrote a long time ago? And then he reacted like no one knew what this super chat was about except for him, and so he bitched out really hard at the host for even mentioning it, and was like, "Fuck you, heartfelt."
I've never heard that before.
Yeah, no.
Ever spoken or uttered. So hearing "fuck you, heartfelt" was very like, whoa.
That's a strange
That's a very strange way of saying that.
Yeah. And the internet did what the internet does and caused the Barbara Streisand effect to happen, because he started just going on a rabbit hole of just bad trying to cover up everything from his past.
I've never seen the internet. I can't even think of the last person that did that. I've never seen the internet annihilate a person
so hard.
as hard as Jack. I mean, probably I guess deserve it so to be deceiving that many people. You're gonna get, if you're gonna deceive that many people on the internet, I guess you shouldn't like be surprised the internet comes back to fuck you if you screw with them.
I think more than anything, the internet basically revealed a lot of stuff about him, mostly because of how intensely he reacted, and also his subsequent actions of just rubbing everyone the wrong way, lying even more, and just being a little bit egotistical, and like he just like kind of went insane for a second there, and he made things worse for himself, which kind of eggs the internet on more. Like, do you not know how the internet works?
These are people with infinite time on their hands. They made a simulator.
Yes.
For him.
Yes, they did. They made a video game making fun of him.
So fast, and it works so fast.
Yeah.
I've never seen the internet work so fast. If you don't understand it yet, it's this guy Jack Murphy. He says he's like this guy who knows everything about how to be a proper man. And he sells these intense courses, ranging from $100 to God knows how much. And then he suddenly goes onto this podcast, has this flip out. The internet reacts the way it reacts, and then discovers all of this stuff, basically proving that he's been deceiving people.
Yes.
Okay, there.
So a lot of things were revealed that I don't want to get into, because you will need eye bleach to you will need ear bleach to unhear. So if you are curious, if this makes you curious, go look it up yourself. But
have you heard of the term bara?
Bara?
Bara.
Bara.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like that.
Yes. If you know what that is, it's like that.
Yeah.
So but the one of the last things that came out about him before he went dark on the internet was that allegedly he has a really long history of screwing people for money. This is job related. Like, he used to be a teacher or something, and then he like stole, I think, up to $1 million or something, allegedly. And that's when I became more like forgiving of myself for getting duped, because I was like, how am I so blind? I realized, this person has been, that takes skill to like steal basically $1 million. Like, who does that? Like, you tell me who has the skills to do that. And so I realized, like, I literally just witnessed the first con man. I probably have met many con men in my life, but I know for sure this person is a con man.
Without a shadow of a doubt this time.
And that's what it looks like.
I see.
That you can't tell. You can't tell when like, if they're that good at it, you can't tell until stuff like that comes out. So now he went dark, I think. I haven't checked up. But, like, I assume, because, like, all good con men do, he went dark, and you'll probably never see him again because he's probably crafting a whole new personality person. Because Jack Murphy's not even his real name.
Yeah.
So he's probably just a whole new person.
Crafted a whole new identity. Probably shaved the beard.
Doing another grift somewhere.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Who knows? In the Bahamas.
Yes.
In wherever.
Yes. I have been listening to How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And if you would like to listen to this book, which is super helpful for people who are idiots like me, head over to audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast to get your free Audible subscription for one free audiobook. That's audibletrial.com/the Honey and Absinthe podcast. Because of learning all of this about Jack Murphy, and then also like other things that have piled up on each other, I want to update our feelings about certain people we've talked about on this podcast, and how I used to kind of respect them, thought like maybe they're kind of grifty, but like now I really don't. Or like I still really love these people. Or maybe I didn't like them before and I like them now.
Or you like them before, but then you think they're really grifty, so you don't even listen to them.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
Yeah. And I've talked about how like that happens once you've been on the internet long enough. You'll have your favorite personalities. And eventually you'll get either bored or tired of them, or they'll disappoint you, and then you just move on to someone else. So the first one I guess I'll start with is like Casey Neistat as an example of someone I really thought well of before when I was younger, and now I'm just kind of disappointed. In that, like, he had this air, at least to me, of someone who did YouTube for the sake of the art of it, because he just liked making movies, as he would call it. And I think for a really long time, I think that was the honest intent that he had. But I think recently, when he put out his online course for his like how to teach someone how to make YouTube videos like him, that was kind of like the last straw for me, for him. And because I really felt like you are, I don't know how long it's been since you did this just for the art, but I think maybe ever since he sold his app and like to CNN and like maybe since back then, it hasn't been about because he wanted to make good movies. I think there is an aspect of grift to what Casey Neistat did since that moment in time. Cause like, I think the reason why that bothers me, cause like I'm not that bothered by grift and like someone having something to sell. I'm not like, if you have a course, whatever, sell your course. But I think what bothers me is that illusion of morality. That illusion of like I'm
doing art for art's sake.
Yeah, and telling people that, because like once upon a time he said he didn't even want to sell T-shirts, his own T-shirt like merch, because he felt like it was really grifty, basically. But then he went from that to like selling a monthly course and making a video on it when he hasn't been making videos. Like he's been, I don't know, surfing, hanging out with his family, whatever, and then also like selling his CNN course, and then like the kind of videos he made after selling his app compared to prior to selling his app they're different in tone, in my opinion. I feel like he got in over his head with influence and his ability to like influence other people and the power he has and that kind of thing. So all in all, like I used to really, really respect the guy because he does work really, really hard, and I do think he deserves everything that he's like a multi-millionaire now, and he like really made a lot of people. But sadly, I just feel a little bit disappointed in him, and I just don't watch his videos anymore. Whenever it comes out, I just don't have the same kind of interest because of that.
You used to, every time he came out with a video, you'd be like, oh, I need to watch it.
Yeah.
Now you don't even care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's like with me and Kind of Funny.
Yeah.
I used to be like super into them. I was about to go to their live things, kind of funny if you don't know, just like, one of those internet video game reviewer people that have made like a whole culture, Patreon community, Discord, that just like meets up. And you've seen that model before.
Yes.
But like at the time, kind of funny, was like one of the like original ones. We're so old.
Yeah.
We're so old.
It was right as like VidCon was getting really big, and like these live events where you meet your favorite YouTuber or whatever.
Yeah, and like just I told this before, but then they said like, oh, we're all best friends, and then they broke up they broke up with one of their friends, and then it was just like, oh, what,
clearly you're not.
Yeah, clearly you're not. So I'm gonna move on. And that's the thing. It's just like, I guess what I was telling you about like what this podcast is like. At least for me, it's like when I'm lately, it feels like when I subscribe to you or follow you or find your content and I like it, it's genuinely because like I do.
Yes. Your authenticity, your relatability, the fact that you believe this person is who they say they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I go, that's what I value these days. Yeah. Like especially like people who, I guess, I've been on Instagram a lot more, and like people who have like evolved from like just posting pictures, which is like, come on guys, this is 2020, you're doing it like it's 2010. Like people who actually like draw out skits and stuff, or like just use their art and like kind of create a show of their own. Oh, they're not hired in a show. I've made a show on TikTok. It's like 15 seconds long, 30 seconds long, and they like do it. And I look at that stuff and I go like, wow, look at that. That's like genuine attempts at like saying something or doing something.
Yes.
And lately that's why I follow people. It used to be before, like, oh, your drawings are cool. Oh yeah, you're really pretty, or you have a really pretty set or whatever.
You're talented.
Yeah, I kept telling you it's sort of like dating.
Yeah.
It's like I have to like you
now
for what you do now. Because like, someone who draws good, someone who sings, someone who reviews games, that's like a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason why like I prefer reviews by, let's say, Jeremy Johns over Angry Joe, or I prefer The Act Man over Dr. Disrespects. Like just whatever video game personality. Like there's just, I personally gravitate to one or the other. I just like you as a person. If we were able to like hang out, would I be able to tolerate an hour with you? Would I want to like hang out with you the whole evening, or would I just immediately want to leave?
Because I think before, especially when I was just getting into YouTube, it was all about talent or beauty. If you had either one of those, you didn't necessarily have to have personality for me. I would just be, oh, you're good at doing makeup. Oh, you're good at singing. You're good at playing guitar, whatever. You're good at something. Do the monkey thing. Do the monkey dance.
Dance. And we go like, oh, yeah, you want to see the fancy TikTok things? Oh, yeah, fancy TikTok things.
But now, because we've been duped so many times and just moved on, like now I almost don't even care if you're not that good. If you are somebody I like, you have a personality I like, and you're really relatable, and I believe you are who you say you are, then I'll watch you. Because I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of tired of getting duped. Another example of this for me, in the politics sphere, is Cernovich. Partly because he kind of used to hang out with Jack Murphy. Oh. And they're very similar in a lot of ways. He has this like nice dad, alpha Chad persona. And one thing that really rubbed me off the wrong way before this whole Jack Murphy thing was he had this weird tweet where he said something like, it's so funny that people buy my Twitter persona as a fuckboy. I like to make people think I'm a fuckboy, but actually I couldn't give two shits what you think about me. And then I was just like, that's like the most fuckboy thing to say. And I don't like that. Like, why are you saying this, for one? And I just have this huge suspicion now of the nice dad archetype and the alpha Chad archetypes.
And I was telling you, like, the more people like Jack Murphy and just like people just show themselves to be frauds, the more it's going to make audiences. Like, I don't consider us to be like big content creators at all. I still consider us to be
like super small,
super consumers of YouTube. Like we watch YouTube like nothing else. Is it? Could you blame us, or is it our fault that we're starting to become really, really mistrusting of anybody on the internet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think. I think it's just gonna get harder and harder for people like us who are creating on the internet to prove to audiences that we're not
trying to screw with them.
Yeah. And I think it is the creator's job to kind of either be that good at grifting or to prove that you aren't. Not to that degree, at least. So, there's no any one thing Surovich did that I feel... I just have fallen out of favor with him. Or I don't know how to describe it, but I just don't trust him like I used to, I guess. And then, for Tim Pool, in Nightmare Alley, there's different levels of grifter.
Yeah.
What I really don't like are grifters who lie about who they are completely, because I feel like I can't trust a word you say. But I'm still okay with people who, like I said, have courses or have something to grift, have things to sell, because everyone's gotta make money. Yeah.
You gotta make your bread, you know.
But with Tim, I think Tim is a grifter with standards.
And that's all you can ever ask,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's really like,
some
that's
principles
probably
here.
most people on the internet.
Right.
So, for example, we were watching his podcast since like before it was really, really as big as it is now. Like from when it first started, basically. And I remember when he said that he was going to have average Joes on to interview, because he wanted to know just the average person, maybe doesn't even have a social media presence, whatever. He genuinely wanted to have those type of conversations. But then now it really feels like he cares more about getting people who have influence on his show. So this happens a lot. I mean, like, we've reached out to people to like come on the show or to talk to people, whatever, and they just completely ignore us because we're not big enough.
Oh,
yet.
like for example, just like when we do the traveling episodes where we house is on Zillow, I'm addicted to Zillow, those types of stuff. We try to reach out to YouTubers in those areas, actually.
Yeah, and they just completely ignore us. Which, whatever.
It's fine.
Yeah.
The Hollywood no. Oh, come on. That's like... Do you think we don't know?
Yeah. You think we don't know? I am used to sending like 100 emails out just to get like
nothing.
Like a nothing. Yeah.
Crickets.
Nothing. Or like I did so much work for somebody and just nothing.
Crickets.
Not even a no. Mm-mm. Not even the decency of like, oh, we gave someone else the job. I'm just hoping. Sitting there hoping for like months. So... yeah, that will happen. I understand that. I understand the incentive too to collaborate with people who are your size or bigger.
Human nature.
Yeah, it's human nature. But the thing is, it's like, but you said you wanted to do that, and then you didn't, and then you didn't say there's a priority shift. I just kind of noticed it. I just kind of noticed that, like, oh, only people of a certain size and or relevancy / influence will be on his show and is asked because I think Tim understands his business, and I think he wants his podcast to become like Joe Rogan's podcast, and whatever, it's fine. Whatever. That's just
aspirations, how I feel. Dreams. You can't blame Tim for trying to reach for the sun.
Yeah. But I can't lie. It is a little kind of disappointing.
But it is what it is. The game is the game. Yeah. The grift is the grift. Yes. Yeah. But there are people I think who are pretty consistent. Like I think this is technically the sequel to the Art of the Grift episode. Mm-hmm. If you want to listen to that. But like there are people like who do the Tim Pool thing in the nerd sphere. Mm-hmm. Like there are people like Doomcock, Victor Van Doomcock, or Nerdrotic, or the Quartering. And the Quartering, I must say, I started off so I think I'm not sure. I'm getting fuzzy on the details because it's been so long now of like how I discovered each of these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, the algorithm pretty much takes care of most of it, recommends all this stuff. But like quartering wasn't recommended to me. I think I was recommended Nerdrotic and Doomcock and all these people. But the quartering, I think when the whole She-Ra shit was going down, someone from work, I forget who, was like bitching and moaning about this fat fuck with a beard online, and how he's like a white supremacist talking about She-Ra or some shit. And I was like, being me, going, ooh, I want the chismes. I want the chismes. I want to take a look. I want to like find out who this foo is.
Yeah.
And I listened to I find his videos, and I'm like, interesting. But then I didn't feel, I felt like I try to be like super like fair, and I just felt like that's kind of an overly strong reaction to this, to me, just like this average food talking about just bitching about your show.
Yeah, that isn't very good.
I didn't say anything because I'm still working. So where was I? Oh, yes. So that's, I think that's how I discovered the quartering, or I might be mixing somebody with somebody else, but I'm pretty sure that was how that happened, because I remembered that was like a problem. That like this was a new phenomenon that like when it happened right when I got hired, where like the studios became super aware of the people on the internet talking shit about them, and it came to a point where it was like affecting people on the crew. And I was thinking like, but like they're just people online.
Yeah.
Like and then like funny to say that now, because we are now just people online, but we also worked in the thing, and so we have seen the veil.
Yes.
Both ways.
Yes.
We know the veil. We know the grift of the Hollywood shit, and we know the grift of the internet people stuff.
Yeah.
Influencer stuff.
I have to say, it's our generation of people, like young millennials, that really react to this type of stuff. Like videos like the quarterings videos.
Oh, yes.
Because I don't remember, prior to getting into the industry, people in TV shows and movies lashing out at internet personalities and fans online. I don't remember that at all, because I actually have I look down on a lot of that behavior from people in the industry, because like, it's, first of all, this is a job.
Yeah, I kept thinking like, but we got paid.
Yeah, like what do you care?
Yeah.
You got paid to do your job. Why are you getting so upset over someone saying that your show is bad? Everyone is entitled to their opinion. And like this, it's Quartering's job to give his opinion on this stuff, and he's going to be honest about it. He didn't like it. And then, but like for people to have that much pride over like PAs, like background people, like prop people, getting that upset because you have that much pride over like this show that it's just a job. It's just a job.
The first of many jobs, if you really want to stay for a long time. It's going to be a lot of different shows, and there's going to be a lot of people like the quartering.
Yeah.
And like, how do you like? I mean, like, how did people react to TV Guide reviews back then?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And the numbers back then. It's like the same shit. It's like, I want to talk about it right now. Like, let's talk about Scream for like a hot second. Okay? Oh shit, we're at 41 minutes. Should we talk about Scream?
No, we should.
Okay, we will talk about Scream. Well,
another time.
We'll put a pin on this concept.
Yes. So the quartering, I was kind of like you. I didn't think much of him at first. I didn't really like him that much at first, but I kept watching him because his videos keep popping up for relevant topics, and I slowly gained respect for him because he's been consistent, and like when he is wrong, he will admit it and he will apologize, and not like fake apology either. Like just like, hey, sorry, I messed up, whatever. I respect his evolution because he used to be, I think, a lot more of the stereotype of the angry YouTube critic who people in the industry will make fun of.
Oh, and just like you said about the Shapiro, he's like the quartering as well has softened his approach.
Yeah, and I like seeing that people can change like that, because I have learned through living life, most people do not change, sadly. But like when I do see it, because I've known too many people to not given too many people second chances and they don't change ever. When you do see change, it's rare and commendable. Sadly, like it's kind of sad.
It's like very, very. It's notable, very, very notable, because it doesn't happen often.
Yeah. Another person that I think has been very consistent is Scott Adams. I really respect him. He, to me, is kind of like Joe Rogan in that, like, he has too much money to have any other any kind of grifting motive. I think he does what he does online for fun, and it amuses him. And I think he's trying to develop some kind of talent stack or something. But a lot of people disliked, like, most people prior to Trump knew Scott as the Dilbert cartoonist. After Trump, they knew him as
the Trump supporter.
Yes. Now, and so a lot of people who used to like, a lot of artists who used to like him after that point had to, like, hide the fact that they like Dilbert the cartoon because they didn't want to be associated with a Trump supporter, sadly. Like, what does that matter? If you like the cartoon, you like the cartoon. But then now he's made a lot of Trump supporters mad because he's very in favor of the vaccines and stuff like that. And I think people think he's flip-flopped. I think people mind read him. I think people just don't know what to think about him most of the time. I mean, he doesn't make it easy. I think part of his shtick is to mess with people a little bit sometimes. So but I think he's been fairly consistent about all his views. All the people who hated him for being a Trump supporter don't understand what he meant. I don't think, and all the people who hate him for supporting vaccines understand what he means. He always says, like, I don't care what you do with your life, but, like, you're taking that risk.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if creators know, but, like, I think a lot of audiences keep score.
Yeah.
I think we're all keeping score because, like, I think a lot of us are really sick and tired of how things are outside of the internet. We're like, anyone can just, like, flip-flop, mislead you, and give you bad information, whatever. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's the same on the internet, but at least, like, you have the ability to try your best to use your bullshit detector and being able to discern if someone is genuine or not. At least you have that.
Yeah.
It's like, let's say, for example, like, everybody in Hollywood or in the media, just like, how could you trust anybody, period?
Yeah.
Over there.
I feel like specifically with like Cernovich and Scott, like, those two comparisons are really great because, like, if you pay attention to the political world at all, things have not been the same since Trump left the internet and the news cycle.
Yeah, a lot of people don't have much to talk about anymore.
So,
and a lot of the things that people became famous for, whether it's like supporting the bad orange man or praising the orange man, like everyone is now, like, kind of naked. And now they're kind of showing their true colors, I think. Yeah.
I think it's really interesting to see people on Twitter flounder because their whole personality is based on hating Trump or loving him.
Right.
Or
being a Trump simp.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, like, now that there is no figurehead to, like, do that to and just magically gain followers and likes and whatever, I feel like people don't know what to talk about sometimes. Sometimes, like, it's just random sometimes. Like, people come up with the craziest things. So I have noticed ever since Trump left the news cycle, there's a lot of manufactured drama and infighting in not only politics, but I see it in, like, Twitch streamers too. I think Twitch streamers also like to be on Twitter a lot, and they seem to, every time views are low, magically some kind of drama happens. Some kind of fighting that like makes people pay attention all over again and like keep people addicted. And I feel like it's kind of annoying because I don't like knowing that like this is like WWE and everything is fake, and like maybe they hate each other, maybe they don't, you don't know. It most likely is just all planned.
If I'm as a person who is in your audience going to get invested in something, I would hope that it's real.
Yeah.
You know, then why would I would like to use my frustrations and my emotions elsewhere instead of thinking, oh, the guy who this person's attacking this person I listen to every day. I should get mad at them.
Yeah.
Which is like a lot of people on the internet.
Yeah. I don't like my emotions. Like, it's exhausting. It's exhausting to get mad. So when your favorite creator is just constantly getting into beef with other people just for views, are you not tired? Are you not like tired of like getting mad for no reason? It's just annoying. Someone like the founder of Quillette is one of those people that I'm really, really frustrated with, because it seems like on the dot every month she has a new person she likes to pick a fight with.
Man, I was this close in 2016.
To subscribing to
No,
Quillette?
not even to subscribing to Quillette, buying a Quillette t-shirt. This close.
Really?
Yeah, this close. I was eyeing it at work. I was like, oh, that thing, I like the logo. It's very pretty. The typography.
And it makes me feel like, oh, you're just getting into Twitter beef because you want to sell your magazine subscription or something like that. And it's just kind of annoying because it doesn't feel genuine whatsoever. Because it's like timed. Like, oh, new month, new victim.
Yeah. And I think what I ultimately pitched to you why we're talking about this is because I feel like us as audiences have to get a little bit wiser, you know?
Yeah.
And like, the internet was so new, and like, you know, having these weird relationships aren't going to be so weird anymore. If you think like 10 years later, like this is going to be normal. Everyone's going to have a podcast. Everyone's going to have some sort of weird, like, we get to hang out in the metaverse type of stuff where we're like hanging out, but not really. And like, even though we're pretending to be best friends, we're still private people who have our own boundaries, all of that kind of stuff. But then we're pretending we're like, you know, we're best buds, you know, we're best friends on the internet. You know, this type of stuff that you see all the time. I think everyone can relate to getting burned by somebody on the internet.
Yes.
At this point, if you're on the internet for this long, you've been burned by somebody.
Yes.
And I'm coming at this from a little bit of frustration here. I'm getting a little tired of getting burned, and I'm getting tired of seeing people like, I mean, I don't blame Jack Murphy's audience for paying that much money for wanting to better themselves. I know it's like something you hear often on the internet, but I agree. Like self-improvement for me is like, I would hope you're not, you know, getting scammed or anything, but like that your intention of trying to make yourself a better person is, I think, admirable.
It's still good, yeah.
You know? I
think when you're new to getting duped, I think you get really outraged and then you swing the other way really hard.
Yeah. But then you realize the thing that you swung for duped you too.
Yeah.
And then you start to fall where we're at right now. We're just like, we pay attention to some people and we give people chances, but like, you know, we're going to make sure you're not going to fuck us again. Yeah. You know?
So like, the reason why you shouldn't get too mad is because like the inclination is to try to make sure this person can't do that to someone else. Like a lot of people like that tend to become like super haters. Like usually your super fans become your super haters, or your super haters become your, like, that intense emotion is very similar. And I think the super fan that becomes a super hater just wants that person to like stop doing what they're doing or whatever. And I just feel like that's impossible, because take someone like Ian Miles Chong. I'm very frustrated with this character on the internet because he, in my opinion, is kind of a really bad grifter, but at the same time it works for him, because so like every once in a while he'll like put his foot in his mouth and reveal his grift, that he doesn't actually believe anything that he says. He's just grifting and taking advantage of people for money. And then people will like get mad at him and he'll lose a bunch of followers or whatever. But then I see him persevere. Like, he keeps going. Because he understands. He's been at this long enough. I think he used to be like a streamer or something too. I don't know. But he's been at this long enough to know that, like, if you just keep going, there'll be a whole new generation of people ready and willing to get duped by you.
Say what you want about Chong. That is the lesson I learned from Chong.
Yeah.
That is the one thing that I'm like, oh, you could get away with anything.
With anything.
You could get away with anything on the internet if you were so inclined, if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
If you just really persevere and like really double down, you just become that thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Because like I will watch, like, there have been like at least 2 or 3 times I can count in the past 2 years that I've known about his existence that, like, it's amazing. He'll like climb up the like influence ladder, and then people will love him because he just parrots what they think back at them, and then he says something that's contrary to what they believe, and then he'll lose a bunch of followers. He'll have this period of time where no one really cares about him. He just keeps going. And then a whole new group of people that are like tweeting him, oh, thank you for all the work you do. I'm like, he's not a journalist. He steals other people's tweets and stories and stuff. But like, I was just kind of like, hey, got hand to him. He understands. And I feel like especially Twitch streamers understand this really well too. There's like...
Why do you think?
I think they understand their audience are young, impressionable people, and they're 15, and they're going to grow up and not watch them anymore. So they're going to get their subscribe, their follow on Twitch, that however many dollars it costs them for the moment, and they'll have a new 15-year-old next year. Yeah,
this ask of like being like, oh, we need to be more careful about who we invest our time with on the internet is going to be a really hard ask for young people, I think.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
They don't know.
I feel like when I was super in a kind of funny, I was like super in a kind of funny. It was like I was like sitting there right there on the table next to them. Yeah, and like and it feels real. But then when you realize it's not, I don't know how other people who continue to go along with whatever the thing is continue to go along with it. But for me, like, it's like the magic trick just disappears.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you could see the wires and you could see, you know, the smoke and mirrors and all that stuff.
It's not as fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, the news does this really well. I remember seeing so many of these where, like, you go to every single news, it doesn't matter. Name a news organization.
MSNBC.
Yeah. Them, and probably Fox too, everyone. They will have 2 different articles come out having the exact opposite opinion of each other. And it feels very hypocritical if you're reading all the news. But the thing is, no one reads all the news. No one sees every single social media post. You will see the one that you agree with the most. And they know that, so that they're trying to get top dollar. They're trying to get you to click. They're trying to get your views. So they're going to, you don't know what they actually believe in. Well, they might believe in both or none, or they don't care. They're just trying to put out content and try and get you to click on it. That's literally it. So all these people getting like upset and have allegiances for news organizations, you guys are weird. You need to not be so into corporations. How about that? And I guess last note on this is like, people will be like, oh, aren't you guys grifting? And I'll be like, okay, you tell me what
buy
I'm
our
grifting.
Course. Oh wait, do we have a course?
No.
Oh.
We don't have anything. We have like merch that I don't even really promote anymore. But like people in animation, it's hilarious because they think that the ones who really dislike me think I'm grifting, and I'm like, what am I grifting? You tell me what I am grifting. I'm literally just trying to make videos and have you watch it. I'm grifting your time, I guess. Like, I don't know. But I had this argument with someone on Facebook a while ago. I think I talked about it before. But what I didn't talk about is like, he assumed that I was trying to like get influence over people for, and like he assumed I took pride in being some kind of martyr or some role model for people, because I think he was like talking about like my music video or something and just trying to like hurt my feelings. And I was just like, did you take my music video literally? Because you're like the person who gave me the idea to name it Thought Leader. Like, the name, it's in the name. The joke is in the name. I'm making fun of myself and what people say about me. Okay? Like, I'm saying other people call me a martyr. I think it's fucking retarded too. I mean, I think it's fucking stupid too. Like, I am not a martyr. I'm alive and well. I'm fine.
Do you want to die for a cause?
No, I don't. I don't want to be...
Do you want to grow old in the Bahamas?
Yes. I don't want to be the leader of any revolution. I don't want minions. I don't want people.
We do not have a Discord.
Yeah. We don't even have a Discord.
We do not care.
It's animation people sending my video over the Discords. Like, leave me alone. These, like, I just was like, what I realized was this guy was projecting so hard onto me. He's such a grifter that he didn't understand that I don't operate that way. I'm literally making videos. If I wanted to make money, I would have an online course. I would teach people how to draw hands. I would continue this art grift thing when I already know that there's not.
I'll promise the youth there will be a job for you one day.
There will be a job for you in animation.
One day.
If you just, pay
Take my course.
$1,000. How about that? No, I don't have that. I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. I think it's icky, and I don't care. I left. Okay.
Well, there's nothing icky about promising kids stuff that you can't really promise them. It's like, the whole idea of college.
Yeah, exactly.
But then all over again.
It's why I feel college is a con as well. So I think it's interesting. Grifters can't tell that we're not grifting.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Grifters always think we're grifting, and I'm just like, man, go sell your online course. Leave me alone. This episode, we are recommending Metroid Dread.
Metroid Dread. I had no idea. I was like, oh, let's buy a video game because we haven't done it in a while.
I told you no.
I literally was like, let's do it.
I told you no.
And I was like, come on, this game's really good.
I'm gonna waste so much time.
And then, because you liked Hollow Knight, and I was like, oh, this game's like Hollow Knight.
Yeah, and I was like, if it's anything like Hollow Knight, don't do it. I'm going to lose my life. Yeah.
I bought it. And I had no idea. I had no idea. I'm playing a little bit, and I had no idea it was the sequel to Metroid Fusion. And I'm like, oh, sick. This is pretty cool. But yes, it is a very, very strong Metroidvania game.
Yeah. If you want to waste time, have a good time. That's a really good...
What do you like better, Hollow Knight or...
Hollow Knight. Oh, yeah. Man. It's just better game mechanics, in my opinion.
Metroid I like the level design better.
Clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, it's like a... it always was like this, but it felt too much like a ant maze.
Yeah, yeah. Like Hollow Knight is it has the same, I guess, similar game mechanic as Metroid, but then it has the difficulty of Dark Souls, and it's simpler in that way. So
yeah, it's I just have to beat this guy to go forward.
Yeah, I have to get good.
Yeah.
I suck. I hate myself. And I destroyed my Twitch controllers, and I had to buy new ones because of that
Switch
game.
Controllers.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Switch controllers. Yeah. If you like this episode, jingle all our bells and buttons, subscribe, check out these other episodes to binge all our content, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.